My neighbor claimed I owed her for a fence we never agreed to. When I refused, she sued me and told the judge she's been stalking me for months. I was speechless until I saw the proof she gave them, doctored photos of me in her bedroom. But when I zoomed in, I noticed something that proved someone else was there. So this all started over a damn fence. I live in Everett, Washington. I bought my house after my divorce, thinking it would be a good place to start over. Small, nothing fancy. But quiet. I liked that. I had peace for a while. Then Janelle moved in. At first, I didn't care. People move in and out all the time. I saw the moving truck, gave it a day, and then brought over cookies like a decent neighbor. She opened the door, stared at me, and said, "I don't eat gluten," then shut the door in my face. Okay. Not friendly. No big deal. I figured we'd just ignore each other. But about 2 months later, I woke up to loud hammering. I went outside and saw workers putting up a brand new fence on the property line. It wasn't a small job, it was full panels, privacy height, not the kind of thing you do overnight. I walked up to them, confused, and asked one of the guys what they were doing. "Installing the fence," he said. "We're hired by the lady next door." So I went to her. I called over the fence and asked, "Hey, what's going on?" She yelled back, "Getting a new fence." "It's time." "No one talked to me about it," I said. She just shrugged and said, "Standard stuff. Everyone pays half." That's when I realized she wasn't asking. She was telling me. And I made it clear, I'm not paying for something I didn't agree to. She stared at me for a second and said, "We'll see about that." And that was it. Or so I thought. A week later, I found an invoice in my mailbox. $1,874. For shared fencing costs. I crumpled it and threw it in the trash. Next thing I know, my life starts going sideways. First, the cops show up. Someone complained about loud music. I wasn't even home that night. Then it happened again, another complaint. I checked my Ring camera. Nothing. Then my packages started disappearing. I stopped getting mail on time. I called the post office, and they said it had been delivered. And my water bill skyrocketed. More than doubled. I live alone. I barely do laundry twice a week. I knew something weird was going on. I felt like I was being messed with. I started watching my cameras more closely. But nothing on the footage showed her. She was careful. Then, about a month later, I got served. She was suing me in small claims court. For the fence. And not just that, she also filed a restraining order, claiming I was stalking her. When I read the papers, I felt sick. I thought maybe she made a mistake. Maybe she thought someone else was me. But no. She told the court I had been spying on her, peeking in her windows, even entering her house. That last one almost made me laugh. Until her lawyer showed the judge photos. Photos that showed me, in her bedroom. I don't know how to explain the feeling I had when I saw them. My heart just dropped. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to pass out right there in the courtroom. I shouted, "That's not me. That's not real." But she just sat there, cool as ever, with her arms crossed, acting like she was afraid of me. The judge was clearly taking it seriously. I asked to see the photos again. I needed to look closer. I zoomed in on one of them. She had printed them from a phone, probably thought that made it look more real. That's when I saw it. There was a mirror on the closet door. And in the reflection, there was a man. Shirtless. Holding a phone. You could see his arm, his phone, part of his face. And it wasn't me. I pointed it out right then and there. "Look. Look at the mirror. That's not me." The courtroom got quiet. Even the judge leaned in. Her lawyer tried to brush it off. Said maybe it was an old photo or something. but the judge didn't buy it. He ordered a recess. When we came back, Janelle looked like she was going to throw up. Her lawyer looked panicked, flipping through papers like he'd just realized something was off. Then the judge said he wanted to take a closer look at the metadata on the photos. That's when everything really started to unravel. Turns out, the photos were taken 2 years ago. Before she even moved into the house. I had never met her then. She claimed she'd got the dates mixed up, but the judge wasn't buying it anymore. He asked her why she lied under oath. She started crying and saying she felt unsafe around me, that I gave her a bad feeling. But that wasn't enough to cover what she'd done. The judge threw out her case, right there. But the damage was already done. My reputation at work took a hit. Someone heard about the stalking accusation, and even though it got thrown out, it followed me. I had to fight just to keep my job. HR got involved. I had to talk to legal. And even worse, there's still more to the story. Because a few days after court, something happened that told me this wasn't just about the fence. This was personal. Really personal. And I was going to find out why. After court, I thought it was over. But I couldn't relax. I kept replaying everything in my head, her smug face in the courtroom, the fake tears, the doctored photos, and that man in the mirror. Who was he? That's when I realized something. Why were there pictures of anyone in her bedroom from 2 years ago, before she even lived next door? She made it seem like she just moved in last year. But if those photos were from earlier, that meant she was lying about more than just me. I did some digging. Went to the county records office and looked up the property history. The house was in her name, yes, but she bought it almost 4 years ago, not 1. I double-checked the address 3 times. Same house. So she'd been living there longer than she said. Why lie about that? I started thinking back to everything she'd said, or didn't say. We never had a real conversation, but now that I looked back, she was always too careful. Never gave details about her life. Always vague. Then something clicked. That man in the mirror. What if he used to live there? What if she was trying to cover up his existence? I remembered a weird moment from months ago. When a neighbor mentioned that the couple in that house used to argue a lot. At the time, I thought they meant the people before Janelle. But maybe not. So I went to talk to that neighbor again. Her name was Denise. Older woman, walks her dog past my house every day. I asked, "Hey, remember when you said something about arguing next door?" She nodded. "Oh yeah. The lady and her boyfriend, maybe husband? He was always slamming doors and yelling." I asked, "Did you ever see him?" She looked around like she didn't want to gossip, then leaned in. Tall guy. Dark hair. Tattoo on his neck. Always wore those ribbed tank tops. He used to sit outside on the porch drinking. Real angry energy. Did you see him recently? I asked. She paused. Not in the last year. Not since the cops showed up that one time. Ambulance too. After that, it was just her. Now I was rattled. Ambulance? Cops? I asked if she remembered when that happened. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through her photos. Here, we had a street block cleanup day. That was the same weekend. She showed me the date. June 17, 2023. I went straight to the county police records website. Took me an hour, but I found it. There was a call to her address that night. A domestic disturbance. Report said, male suspect fled scene. Woman declined to press charges. Minor injury noted. Then I found the real kicker. A missing persons report for a man named Marco Santiago, filed 2 days later by his sister. Same man. Tattoo on neck. Fit the description. That was the guy in the photo. The man in her bedroom. The one reflected in the mirror. And he hadn't been seen since that day. That changed everything. This wasn't just about a fake fence bill or some doctored pictures. She tried to frame me, possibly to cover something much worse. I took it all to the cops. The photos, the metadata, the court transcript, even Denise's statement. At first, they brushed it off. But when I pointed to the mirror photo again and mentioned the missing person report, one officer went quiet. 2 days later, a detective showed up at my door. He had questions. So I told him everything, every strange thing Janelle had done. The fence. The lawsuit. The stalking claims. The timeline that didn't add up. And the man in the mirror. He took notes. Lots of them. He told me, we've had questions about her. But no one could prove anything. Until now. And just like that, it turned. Cops started watching her house. Then one night, I saw them show up with flashlights. Crime scene tape went up around her backyard. They dug up something. I don't know what it was yet. But I know it wasn't good. Janelle disappeared that night. Vanished. Gone. Her car was still there, but she wasn't. And then I found something else. In my backyard. Buried just under the edge of her fence. A small black plastic bag. Inside? A phone. And not hers. It had messages. Photos. Of me. Taken without my knowledge. Through my windows. On my front porch. Even one in the grocery store parking lot. Timestamped. From months ago. All saved under a folder called Keep Tabs. She wasn't afraid of me. She was watching me. The phone rattled me. I stared at it for hours that night. I couldn't sleep. My skin felt cold, like I'd been touched by something evil and hadn't shaken it off. This wasn't just someone playing games or trying to win a petty case. Janelle had been watching me for months. Tracking me. Planning something. But why? The next morning, I went straight to the detective. I gave them the phone. He looked through it, jaw tight. He didn't say much, just asked how I found it and if I'd touched anything else. Then he said, "Don't tell anyone you gave this to us. And don't talk to her. If she contacts you, call me." That made it real. Later that day, I noticed something else. Something I hadn't seen before. My backyard gate was slightly open. I always keep it latched. Always. I checked the footage from my Ring camera, but the angle didn't quite catch that part of the yard. It felt like she had been in my yard after the court case. I started thinking about everything again, and I remembered something that had bothered me for a while. A smell. Rotten. Sweet. Like dead flowers and garbage. It would drift in from the fence sometimes, but I figured it was her trash or maybe her dog. But after the cops dug in her backyard and then sealed it off, I realized what I'd been smelling might have been a body. A few days passed. News spread. Janelle was officially listed as a missing person. But the story didn't hit the local paper until later that week, when they released part of the forensics report. They'd found human remains in a shallow grave behind her shed. I knew it had to be Marco. But here's the thing. That wasn't the only body they found. There were two. And no one knew who the second person was. The detective came back to my house. He asked more questions. Showed me a photo, blurred, decomposed, but male, with dark hair and a different tattoo. I didn't recognize him. "Any reason she would have framed you specifically?" he asked. I told him I didn't know. We'd never even spoken more than a few words. I wasn't anyone special. I was just the neighbor who wouldn't pay for her fence. But then I remembered something. That day she yelled, "You'll regret this." After I refused to pay, she looked at me like she knew me. Not from the neighborhood. From before. And it hit me. I saw her before she moved in next door. Years ago. back when I worked at a hotel in Bellevue as night staff. One of the regulars who used to come in late, crying, asking for a room under different names, was her. I only remembered because of her eyes. She always looked panicked. And the name she used stuck with me, Jessa Marks. Not Janelle. I checked the hotel records. I still had friends there. They pulled her ID scan from years ago. Same face. Different name. Same tattoo on her wrist. That meant she had changed her identity. I told the detective. He looked stunned. Said, "That tracks." We suspected she might be running from something. A week later, they found out who the second body was. Paul Aldridge, a man who had been missing since 2021. Last seen in Tacoma. His file was closed due to lack of leads. But his sister had been posting online for years, begging for help. He was her ex. Just like Marco. Both men dead. Both in her backyard. And suddenly, everything clicked. Janelle wasn't just unhinged. She was a predator. She lured men in. Used them. Then made them disappear. And when people got too close, she found a way to distract attention. This time, that distraction was me. She'd planted a whole narrative around me. Built it up over months. The fake stalking. The altered photos. The invoices. The missing mail. Even the photos of me on her burner phone. She needed a scapegoat. Someone the cops could look at while she made her next move, or vanished. And here's where it gets even worse. 2 nights after that discovery, I got another package. No return address. Inside? A flash drive. And a note that said, "You should have paid for the fence." The drive had one video file. I clicked it, hands shaking. It was a grainy security cam clip, from inside my house. From my bedroom. The camera had been placed high in the corner, above the closet. It caught me sleeping. Timestamp 2 weeks ago. Before the court hearing. She had been inside my house. I tore my room apart, looking for hidden cameras, devices, anything. I found a second camera inside a smoke detector. And now? Now I can't sleep. Because she might still be out there. And I don't know what she wants next. After I found the camera hidden in my smoke detector, something inside me snapped. This woman, Janelle, or whatever her real name was, had dug her way into every part of my life. She had stepped into my house while I was sleeping. She had tried to ruin me with fake photos, false stalking claims, and nearly got away with murder. Literally. And now she was gone. But I knew she wasn't done. She didn't disappear for good. She wasn't the type. People like her don't stop, they just wait for a chance to finish what they started. So I stopped playing defense. I started digging into her past the way she had mine. First, I used the ID scan my friend at the hotel had sent me. Jessa Marks. That name led me to a Facebook page that hadn't been updated in years, but still had a few photos. One caught my eye. It showed her, younger, with another woman and 2 kids. She had her arm around one of them. The caption said, "Me and my big sis before she moved to Idaho." That was the first real lead I had. I found her sister. Facebook, again. Her page was more active. And she posted a tribute last year. "Can't believe it's been 10 years since we lost you, Jessa." Wait, lost? I messaged her. I told her who I was. I said her sister was alive. That she'd been living under a new name. That she was involved in something dark. I didn't expect a reply. But she called me the next day. Sobbing. She told me Jessa had faked her death years ago after CPS took her kids. She'd fallen into drugs. Dated dangerous men. Then vanished. Everyone assumed she was dead. Until now. She gave me a new name I hadn't heard before. Jessica Marin. That name led me to a sealed court record in Idaho from 2012. 2 counts of aggravated assault. 1 kidnapping. Charges dropped due to witness tampering and missing evidence. The name of one witness? Paul Aldridge. The same Paul buried in her backyard. And the case? Closed. No follow-up. She had walked away and disappeared. Again. Now the puzzle was clear. She lured in men who could be controlled. Ones with records, or no family nearby. She used them, then erased them. Changed her name. Moved again. And this time, she needed a clean break. I was just the placeholder to take the fall. But she made a mistake. She left the drive. The note. She couldn't resist the drama. So I gave her some. I went to the detective and laid it all out. Every name. Every address. Every Facebook screenshot. The video from the drive. The fake identity. Her real name. And I gave him one more thing, I hacked the flash drive. Well, not me. A buddy of mine from college works in digital forensics. He cracked it open. Inside, hidden in an encrypted folder, were more videos. More men. Dozens of clips. Men tied to chairs. Men arguing. Crying. Being lured in. One clip had Marco's name said out loud. You could hear her voice. You never listen, Marco. Now look where you are. Another showed Paul yelling, I didn't tell them anything. I swear. It was sick. The detective didn't say a word after he watched. But 3 days later, the FBI got involved. They launched a federal case. Opened it wide. Tied it to missing persons from 3 states. That was when everything turned. She was spotted in Reno, Nevada. Using a fake name. Claire. She had dyed her hair blonde, was working as a waitress, and living with a man, new victim, most likely. He had no idea. They arrested her at the diner. She tried to run. Didn't get far. And this is where karma did its job. She didn't go quietly. She confessed to 3 murders. They found more remains on another property she'd rented under yet another name in Montana. She had a storage unit full of personal belongings. Driver's licenses, phones, even teeth. They charged her with first-degree murder, identity theft, wire fraud, stalking, and unlawful surveillance. The trial was televised. People across the country watched her face as they showed those photos. The fake stalking claims. The doctored bedroom shots. The security cam of me sleeping. The videos of Marco and Paul. She didn't cry this time. But I watched every second of it. Her public defender tried to argue insanity. Didn't work. She was found guilty on all counts. Life sentence. No parole. The man she was living with in Reno, his name was Chris, testified that she had just started talking about leaving town and getting rid of distractions. That might have been him. He broke down crying on the stand. So yeah. She's locked up now. As for me? It took months to clear my name completely. My job put me on leave at first. But once everything came out, they issued a formal apology. Even offered a settlement for emotional damage. I declined. I didn't want their money. I wanted peace. I sold the house. Moved to Bellingham. New place. No neighbors yet. Not for a while. I installed my own cameras this time. Every room. Every door. And I sleep with the lights on. People think the worst thing that can happen is your house getting broken into. It's not. It's someone building a story around your life so carefully, so slowly, that by the time you realize what's happening, everyone else already thinks it's true. But now? Now she's the one in the cage. And I'm finally free.